Devil World is perhaps one of the most interesting games on the NES. Its designer was the famed Shigeru Miyamoto, who you may know as the creator of Mario, Zelda, and many other franchises that have become staples of gaming even outside of their home country of Japan. Devil World, however, isn't one of those games. It's pretty much fallen into obscurity, most likely for these two reasons. Firstly, it was never released in NTSC regions, due to its overt use of religious iconography, which seems kind of ironic actually, because the game has so little to do with any belief system that I can think of, except maybe Scientology. But the second reason is that, put simply, it's a Pac-Man clone. And again, in a bit of irony, the co-designer of this game, Takashi Tezuka, had actually never heard of Pac-Man before working on it. It's definitely a strange piece due to these reasons, and that's my favorite kind. So let's take a look at Devil World. The game begins with a screen for the title, a title screen, if you will, and you are supplied with options of single player or cooperative play. After you make your selection, there's a brief arcade-like cutscene featuring some killer 8-bit Tchaikovsky. And from there on, yes, it looks a lot like Pac-Man. But wait, there are some very important changes made to this game. First of all, you can't eat the dots right away like you can in Pac-Man. The goal is the same in both, yes, that is, to eat all the dots on the screen in order to progress to the next one, but here you can only eat dots if you're holding a crucifix. It also lets you breathe fire. Anyway, there are also some enemies running around who, like Pac-Man, spawn in the middle of the screen. This can be easily dispatched though with your fire. And that's all fine, but really the highlight of challenge in this game is that the screen moves of its own volition. So you now have to plan your positioning much more, as a bad move will cause the screen to crush you mercilessly. Much like games such as Bomberman, you are really your own worst enemy here. Now you might think that this artificially lengthens the game or is annoying, and if this were just Pac-Man with a moving screen, I would be inclined to agree with you, but the ability to breathe fire, which is almost always present because the crosses have such a high spawn rate, really makes this game its own entity, and should be judged as such. Another really big change is that unlike Pac-Man, where the same screen repeats over and over again forever with no changes, Devil World will change up the palette, and in between the main stages there are also two bonus-like stages. The first of the two being one where you have to put Bibles, which, like the crosses, give you firepower, into the giant thing in the middle of the screen, as to chase away the devil at the top of the screen. This part might actually be my favorite in the game, as it keeps the mechanics of the main stages, but gets rid of all the dot collecting, which would inevitably become tedious if put back to back like in Pac-Man. And next and finally we have Bonus Box, which is the simplest of the modes. There are 6 boxes around the screen, and it is your job to eat them all. Or not, depending on how you're feeling. It really doesn't matter, because you're brought to the next level regardless. It's really just for points, and considering that there are so many other ways to get points already, such as burning innocent-looking creatures alive and then feasting on them, or putting Bibles into whatever that is, it's really kind of pointless and, in my opinion, just slows things down. As I mentioned earlier, there's also a cooperative play mode, but seeing as I could find no one to play with me as I was recording this, I don't really have any idea what's up with that. That being said, Devil World is a pretty exceptional Pac-Man clone. It puts a twist on just about every aspect of the original game, and yet Pac-Man's formula is still very identifiable within it. I also just want to say that I love the wackiness in this game. This is one of those games that you would not see made today. It's just got such a crazy, absolutely insane premise. But that's really what I love about games from this era, is that even the clones, like Devil World, were willing to take chances. A thing that game designers from that era understood that I think a lot of game designers today don't understand is that you can do virtually anything you want to with a game, so why limit yourself to any sort of conventions? I actually find it kind of ironic that I discovered this playing Devil World, a Nintendo game, because today Nintendo's games seem to be just convention, the same thing rehashed over and over again. And that's not to bash the quality of Nintendo's games, because I've played New Super Mario Bros. U, and it's a fantastic game. It just lacks that sense of wonder that comes when weird ideas mixed with great game designers. And I suppose that's really what we should take back from Devil World, aside from being a really fun game, is that risk can pay off in the long run. And with my mini sermon over, that concludes my review of Devil World. Hope to see you next time.